Leah Galione, and I'm the literacy director for the Gainesville Bridge. And the Gainesville Bridge is a nonprofit. We have a few different programs that we offer in our community. One is our literacy program, which I run, and then we do a food giveaway 2 times a month. And we also have a community garden. I ended up as the literacy director kind of by accident. Our church has been around the Gainesville area for about 40 years. And a few years back, we hired a new pastor, and he brought to our church a real sense of social justice. So he wanted to, in Gainesville, it's still fairly segregated and between the black and white side of town. Unfortunately. And so he really wanted us to, a lot of churches build and go west because that's where the land is. And he really encouraged us to go east. The change in the, we call our tutors reading coaches. We do that for a reason, because we want to kind of take the stigma away of, there's something wrong with you. You need a tutor because you're behind. And so we use the concept of reading coaches as like, hey, we're coming along beside you, just like everybody has a coach. You got a basketball coach, you got, gymnastics coach, like, great. Yeah, they teach you how to get better, right? So that's all we're doing. So we take, what I did not expect was the effect that using Great Leaps and using, connecting our students virtually would have on our reading coaches. Most of our reading coaches are college students, which is fantastic because that gives our kids an opportunity to see people not much older than them, because we concentrate mostly on middle school age, that are really have career goals and have life goals. And so, they'd rather work with somebody a little younger than maybe an older person like me that's maybe not as cool or hip as as these younger kids are. They really form a good bond. As far as the results that we've seen across the board, we are looking at not just how are their reading scores increasing, but how are their grades? How are they? We have one student in particular that I'm thinking of that he was actually on the autism spectrum. When I first met him, his mom had taken him to a, one of those tutoring companies, that's national tutoring companies that want you to sit down for an hour and pay $150 to do some kind of like reading intervention with them. He's on the autism spectrum. He's not going to sit for an hour, and she didn't have the money for it. She called me, the first time I sit down with this kid, I do his little, assessment to kind of see where he's starting from or whatever. And, I convince him, I said, it's 10 minutes. All you have to give me, just 10 minutes. And for the first probably, 2 months of his session, he started his timer. And when 10 minutes was up, he was done. Like the tutor, I was like, you got to get it done. You can't ask too many questions. Do it quick. How was your day? But that was it. He was like, this is all you're getting from me. And eventually he, didn't use the timer anymore, but that was all he could do. He was failing his reading class. I guess after 6 months of working with him, he made the AB honor roll for the first time in his life. He got out of the remediated reading classes and was doing fantastic. I mean, here's a kid who just was not going to respond to traditional methods and really was able to succeed. So that's just one success story. I have plenty of them, but that's the one that sticks out to me the most. When we first went virtual, and I had kids, I was working with them over the summer because COVID happened, and I definitely did not want them to lose any more ground than they've already had. So I was doing Great Leaps. I was the one doing all the tutoring at that point. I had no volunteers. And the kids would call me on a Saturday or Sunday morning at 8 in the morning and be like, Miss Leah, can I do my Great Leaps? So kids like it because they're successful at it. And that's a really, I didn't really touch on that, but Great Leaps is encouraging. And when kids have had trouble reading, they are discouraged. And other kids point that out to them, because let's just face it, kids are just mean. They like to point out differences. Like it's just what they're going to do. They're going to compare themselves. They know that, so they feel bad about themselves. When they start doing great leaps and you see that confidence and you see that, like, oh, I just read that story, and I read it without any errors, and I finished it, and it's just like this success, and it just builds, because it just builds that confidence. And that's so important in reading. And I think we don't put enough stress on that in the education world, of how much confidence really contributes to learning success. And Great Leaps is phenomenal about doing that with kids.